Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope you all are in good health. I welcome you all in this class of English, and today we are going to discuss the last two scenes of Macbeth. I mean Act 5, Scene 8 and 9. After that, this play will be over, and in these scenes you will be able to know the final destiny of Macbeth, the final destiny of protagonist, the main character or the hero of this play. Learning objective is to be able to understand the end of a tyrant. Who is tyrant? Tyrant means a cruel ruler. And now who is cruel ruler here? Macbeth is the cruel ruler here. So now we are going to understand, in these scenes we are going to understand the final end of Macbeth, how Macbeth is what is the end of Macbeth. And before I move forward, let me tell you the brief recap of the previous scenes. Uh, in previous scenes, two prophecies of prophecies of the apparition have been fulfilled. Like Macbeth is in front of Macbeth, as well as Benham Woods have also come to Dunsinane, or Benham Woods have also come to Macbeth's castle. Now these two wishes have been fulfilled, and Macbeth has killed young Seward, and Macduff is also eagerly seeking for Macbeth because he thinks that Macbeth is responsible his for the murder of his family. So in now as this now as the eighth scene starts, we will come to know that there is the fight between Macbeth and Macduff. But before we read the summary or anything regarding Act 5 Scene 8, I want to show you a short clip of the movie Macbeth. And in this scene you will come to know that Macbeth and Macduff, they both are going to fight, and before they fight, an exchange of words happen, and what they talk to each other before they fight you can see in the video. And in the video you will automatically feel what was the yeah, oh sorry in the video you will automatically feel what is going to be the end of Macbeth. So here we go.
Why should I play the Roman fool and die on my own sword? Unless I see lives, the gashes do better upon me. Turn, hellhound, turn! Of all men else I have avoided thee, but get thee back. My soul is too much charged and bloody of thine already.
I have no words. My voice is in my sword. Thou bloodier villain, then terms can give thee out.
Thou losest labour, as easy mayest thou the interchat with thy keen sword impress, as make me bleed. Let fall thy blade on vulnerable crests. I bear a charmed life, which must not yield to one of women born.
Spare thy charm, and let the angel whom thou still hast served till thee, Macduff was from his mother's womb, untimely ripped.
Accursed be that tongue that tells me so, for it hath cowed my better part of man. And be these juggling fiends no more believed, that palter with us in a double sense, that keep the word of promise to our ear, and break it to our hope. I'll not fight with thee.
Then yield thee, coward, and live to be the show, and gaze over the time. We'll have thee, as our rare monsters are, painted upon a pole and underwrit. Here may you see the tyrant.
I will not yield to kiss the ground before young Malcolm's feet, and to be baited with the rabble's curse. Though Burnham would be come to do sane, and though opposed being of no woman born, yet I will try the last. Before my body, I throw my warlike shield. Lay on Macduff, and Dan be him for the first cries. Hold enough!
watched the short clip, and that short clip is actually the performance of scene 8 and scene 9 in that video. I hope you have understood each and everything clearly. In that video, there was a fight between Macbeth and Macbeth. Macbeth is killed, and then Malcolm has become the king, and everyone shouts with happiness that hail King of Scotland. Now Malcolm has become the new King of Scotland, and everyone is happy. All the lords and all the thanes of Scotland are happy, and and they they loudly they say jointly that hail King of Scotland. And this is how the video ended. Now let me tell you the a brief summary of Act 5, Scene 8. Macbeth and Macduff come face to face on the battlefield where they exchange words before clashing swords. Macbeth, the bloody usurper of the throne, finally meets his end. Macbeth meets his predetermined end, bringing all the witches' prophecies to fruition. Sorry, to fruition. Here, as I told you that Macbeth and Macduff, they both come face to face. They both start fighting to each other, and before they start fighting they exchange words before their swords clash. So the exchange of words for the exchange of words was quite severe. And after that, and after the fight, Macbeth finally he meets his end. What was his end? He is killed by Macduff. Macbeth meets his predetermined end. Predetermined end means everything was predetermined, everything was pre-decided, everything was pre-planned by witches, and witches wanted his downfall, which is wanted his end, which is wanted his tragedy, and which is wanted him die, and which is wanted him die as a king of Scotland. And this is what happened at the end. Macbeth Macbeth died, and this is how all the prophecies of witches have been fulfilled. And I know you are very well curious about one prophecy, because there was a prophecy that Macbeth cannot be harmed by a person who is womanly born, and everyone in the world is womanly born. Then how Macduff kills Macbeth? This is really an important question in your mind, I know. So I want to give you the answer of this question in next slide. So please look at it. Now in front of your screen you can see important lines of Act 5 Scene 8. I request you all to please open the books Act 5 Scene 8 and please underline these points, because they are so important in these scenes. And there are actually, this whole scene is so much important, but out of that important scene I have chosen a very important lines for you. So please underline these quotations. The first quotation is by Macduff as the scene starts. As I told you in previous scene, Macduff is eagerly searching Macbeth. So as he finds Macbeth, he says, "Turn, hellhound, turn." Turn, he says this to Macbeth. As he sees Macbeth, he says that turn, hellhound. Hellhound means hound is a hunting dog. Actually, hound is a hunting dog. He says Macbeth, hellhound means Macbeth is a hunting dog and he belongs to hell. He is a hellish hunting dog, and he call him a hellhound by, and he says, "Turn, hellhound, turn." Macbeth says this to Macbeth. The second important quotation is by Macbeth. He says, "Of all men I have avoided thee." You can you can hear this line in the previous video as well. When Macbeth says, "Of all men I have avoided thee." This is what Macbeth is saying to Macduff. He says that I have avoided only you in the whole world. I have fear of none except you. And I just want to avoid you. Then Macduff says after some lines, when after when Macbeth says, "Of all men I have avoided thee," there is a swear exchange of words between Macduff and Macbeth. After some time, Macduff says, "My voice," this is the third quotation, "my voice is in my sword. thou bloodier villain than terms can give thee out. Means here Macbeth says that Macduff says that my voice is in my sword. Macduff says that he does not want to say anything. He just want to attack with his sword. His words are in his swords than in his mouth. He wants to he just want to run his sword. He just want to attack with his sword. Then he says, thou bloodier villain, thou bloodier, thou means you, bloodier means you are bloody villain. Villain means the villain means someone who is not the hero, who is weak or who has committed so many mistakes, who has committed so many evil sins. So Macbeth says to Macbeth like, thou bloodier villain, then terms can give thee out. Like our terms mean our relationships, our relations that we have, that we used to have in past. That relationship has been turned into 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 our opposition, and now we are enemies to each other. And now you are a bloody villain, and my sword, my words are my voice is in my sword, and now I want to attack with my sword. After some time, Macbeth says, let fall thy blade on vulnerable crest. Let fall thy blade on vulnerable crest. Vulnerable crest means strong helmet. Macbeth is so much hopeful that the sword of Macbeth is not going to harm Macbeth. He simply says that let fall thy blade. Thy means your. Blade means the blade of sword. Like let fall thy blade on vulnerable crests. Like your sword can only fall on my helmet. This is what Macbeth says. Like, like your sword or your blade is not going to harm me, is not going to harm any part of my body except my vulnerable helmet. And the helmet, we know that everyone wears helmet in the war. Then Macbeth says, after some time, Macduff says, Macduff says, tell thee, Macduff was from his mother's womb untimely ripped. As Macbeth was having this concept in his mind, this prophecy of apparition is in his mind, that no womanly born can harm him, no womanly born can kill him, and this is what he says to Macduff as well. And in response to this prophecy, Macduff says, "Tell thee that I want to tell thee. Thee means you. Macduff says that I want to tell you that Macduff was from his mother's womb untimely ripped. Untimely ripped means untimely come out. That Macduff was not properly womanly born. It means that at the time of Macduff's birth, it was not the normal delivery. It was the caesarean way. It was operated, and Macduff took out of his mother's womb. At that time, the caesarean way was not common. So whosoever borns of caesarean way, so people call him that he is not womanly born. Not womanly born means there is not normal delivery of the birth of the boy, of the birth of any child. So in this way, Macduff was not born with a normal delivery of his mother, but he was untimely raped. Untimely means before time, as we know very well, because as we know very well that there is a proper time of the birth of a child. After particular time, a child is born, but he was untimely born. He was born before time, and he was born before a caesarean way with an operation, and he was taken out of his mother's womb untimely. So this is how you can see that Macduff was not womanly born. Macduff was not Macduff was not born with a proper way of birth. So in this way, the third prophecy of apparition has also been fulfilled, as Macbeth comes to know that Macduff is not womanly born. He says, at the last line you can see, He says, "Accursed be that tongue that tells me so, for it hath cowed my better part of a man." Accursed be that tongue that tells me so. Accursed means he wants to curse that tongue. Curse that tongue. And who told him that, who told him or who gave these prophecies? Obviously the witches or the apparitions. Now Macduff is cursing those apparition or those witches because they have told him something in a double meaning, something that has double meaning. Actually their prophecy was true, but Macduff interpreted it in a wrong way, or they told something with a double meaning that Macduff was unable to understand. So he says, "Accursed be that tongue that tells me so. Whosoever told me this prophecy, I accurse that tongue." He says, "For it hath caught my better part of a man," like it has taken my better part of a man, he has means it has taken my bravery, it has taken my courage, it has taken my vulnerability. Well, sorry, it has taken my bravery, it has taken my courage, my strength. I am not more a better man now. I am not more a vulnerable now. So these are the important quotations of Act 5, Scene 8. And after this time, after this, when Macbeth comes to know that Macduff is not womanly born, they both starts fighting. And after some time, Macduff kills Macbeth with his sword. And this is how the scene ends. And then Macduff goes out with then Macduff goes out with Macbeth's body. Now we will move towards Act 5, Scene 9, the summary of this scene. Let's read it. The castle of Dunsinane has been taken and peace falls upon the land. The war ends with Macbeth's death. Besides, this honour of the war have been acknowledged and Scotland returns to normalcy. All the thanes of Scotland have assembled and they have proclaimed Malcolm as the new king of Scotland. As you watched in the video, in the short clip of Act 5 Scene 8 and 9, that the castle of Dunsinane has been taken by the new persons, by the new king. Who was the new king? The new king was Malcolm, and he was proclaimed the new king of Scotland, and all the thanes assembled in Dunsinane Palace, and they promised their loyalty, they promised their sincerity with Malcolm. So this war was ended with the death of Macbeth, as I told you earlier that the armies of Macbeth, they already surrendered before Macbeth. So they already surrendered and they started to show their loyalty towards towards Malcolm because they were very very familiar with Malcolm and his father King Duncan. So this is how the play ends, and this is how the war ends. And Malcolm is considered the new king of Scotland, and he invites all the thanes of Scotland to celebrate the freedom, to celebrate the victory. And he also says all the things that he also orders that uh, someone should go and take back all the things or all the persons of Scotland who have escaped from Scotland just to protect themselves from Macbeth. And he invites everyone to celebrate the new victory. Now you can see the important quotations of Act 5 Scene 9 on your screens. So I request you all to please underline these dialogues or these quotations because they are very much important in terms of your paper. So I request you all to underline because you can add these quotations as evidences when you are writing the answer of the question related to this scene. So let me read the first quotation. Ross says, "Your cause of sorrow must not be measured by his worth, for then it hath no end." Ross says this to Seward, as Seward is one of the commanders of English army. So young Seward is the son of Seward, and young Seward has been killed by Macbeth. and after knowing the death of his son, he gets a little bit worried, he gets a little bit sorrowful. But Ross says that your cause of sorrow must not be measured by his worth. Means he is more worthy than your sorrow. Ross says to Seward that your son is more worthy than your sorrow. Then he says, for then it has no end. It means that your sorrow will end one day, your grief will end one day, and you will happy again. But his worth can never be forgotten. Why? Because he was a young boy. He was an experienced person. But even then he challenged the king of the time. He challenged Macbeth, and ultimately he was killed by Macbeth. In this way, he says that your your sorrow cannot be harmed. Your sorrow cannot be harmed. Your sorrow cannot be measured by the worth, because he is more worthy than your sorrow. This is what Ross says to Seward. Then Seward says, had he hits, has he hits hurts before? It means it means like Seward asked from Rose that he has been attacked on the front side. Basically, it is very important for the soldier that whenever they are fighting in a war, they want to be attacked on their chest, they want to be attacked on their front side, because this is considered that this is a sign of bravery. This is considered that the soldier is died while fighting. So suddenly he asks that whether he is attacked on the front side, or whether he is attacked on the chest or on the womb. So this was the question, and basically he wants to know that whether my son was brave when he was fighting with Macbeth, or whether my son was lacking confidence. He he is given the answer by saying that yes, he has been hurt before, he has been attacked on front side. So after that, then again Seward says, had I as many sons as I have hairs, I would not wish them to a fairer death. Means he says that if I have as many sons as I have hair on my head, so I want all of them to be died while fighting in the war. I don't want any of them to have a natural or physical death. I want all of them to die while fighting, and I want all of them to die while fighting bravely, and I want all of them to die by by having attack on their front side. So this is how you can see the bravery or the confidence or the loyalty of Seward to the army. Then at the end, Macbeth says, behold where stands the usurper's cursed head. The time is free. When Macbeth comes by having the Macbeth's body with him, Macbeth says, behold where stands the usurper's cursed head. Means this is this is the place where usurper means the tyrant means the cruel ruler, means Macbeth. Now this is the place where Macbeth's cursed head is placed, where there is Macbeth's cursed head, where there is Macbeth's guilt. Now the time is free, means now everyone is free. Now we have got rid of the tyranny of Macbeth, and now you can see this is the time for a revival. This is a time for a new beginning, and Macduff considers Malcolm a new king of Scotland. So guys, this is the time to do some homework now. The question is, how do the prophecies literally destroy Macbeth? Elaborate your answer by giving evidences from the text. Guys, you have to keep the entire plot in your mind. This is an open-ended question, and I need a detailed answer of this question from the whole play, because we have discussed the whole play and we have discussed many things regarding how Macbeth is influenced by the prophecies of witches. Now you have to describe, you have to write that is it true that Macbeth is really or literally destroyed by the prophecies of the witches. You have to give the answer of this question by giving the strong evidences from the text, and you can find this text, you can find the evidences from the text very easily because we have made you underlined the things. And if you have a look on the lines once again that the teachers made you underline, you can easily find out the evidences regarding this question. So wish you best of luck for this question. Thank you so much for listening